Actually, it would be best um, if all of you sat. Raphael also. Welcome, everybody. Welcome, welcome. In front of you are some spectacular, the best of Africa's scientists. You'll be hearing from them. You will. I think okay, that's everybody. So welcome everybody and welcome to the launch of the science panel for the Congo Basin. We're expecting the minister from Congo to join us or a representative, but in the meantime we'll proceed because today definitely marks a special moment as we gather to launch the science panel for the Congo Basin, a panel that will convene leading scientists from around the continent, researchers, to address the Congo Basin issues, to understand this ecosystem, and prioritize policy action. This also represents the culmination of a long, committed, passionate, innovative process that has been led largely by SDSN, some of whom are here. Of course, Emma Torres, her leadership inspiring, I think will be joined later by Jeffrey Sachs and of course Cecil Haferkamp and others at SDSN who've really done a tremendous job of getting us here. And this has been one of commitment, collaboration, ingenuity, and a testament really to the brilliance of the intellectuals on our continent. So the potential of this panel really, and the scientific intelligence that awaits us, will no doubt deepen our understanding, our passion for this ecosystem, and of course, we know, expand our knowledge. Earlier this year, I was honored to join a 2-day workshop in Gabon, in Libreville, and we were there with collaborators from Europe, from the US, and it preceded the One Forest Summit, and I know that was an important catalytic moment in seeding what we are celebrating today. So by the end of that workshop, there was already an agreement that we needed to advance this work. There was an agreement that we needed to mobilize resources and of course to strengthen the role of policy formulation in this work. So this is I also want to acknowledge that we're here, the COMIFAC platform, the CAFI pavilion, the COMIFAC pavilion, and also to say that this is indeed your platform. This is the platform, this panel will be in service of the countries that are part of COMIFAC and CAFI, and so this is very apt that we are here. I want to acknowledge the 3 co-chairs of the science panel, and I want to take a moment, please applaud them. They are contributing significant time. All of them, as you will hear, accomplished, but will be taking on this role, and we are honored really that they have put themselves forward. But before I introduce them, but of course I'll start by introducing them by name. Lydie Stella Kutika, Dr. Lydie, I'll introduce her a little bit later. We have Professor Bonaventure Sonke, and then of course Dr. Raphael Timanga. But before I do that, I want to welcome to the podium Emma Torres to give us some opening remarks, and on behalf of SDSN. Emma is the Vice President of the Americas and head of the New York office of SDSN, and also will serve, thankfully, as the strategic coordinator for this panel. Emma.
Thank you very much, Wanjira. A pleasure to follow you. Thanks a lot. Thank you to our co-chairs, of course, and to our magnificent scientific steering committee that will lead the preparation of this panel, as well as over 140 scientists that have already agreed to join the work of the panel. And we hope to mobilize many more. For us at the Sustainable Development Solutions Network, it's an honor and a privilege to convene the science panel for the Congo Basin. Science is at the core of our work because we mobilize over 2,000 universities globally, and toward the implementation of the Sustainable Development Goals and the Paris Agreement on climate change. Science is critical for the implementation of the Sustainable Development Goals and policy making. And conservation of tropical forests are essential to meet the Paris goals. Congo, the Basin, is the second largest forest in the world. And despite its importance for the region, for its people, and for the planet, there is a chronic underinvestment in science. The ministers is much to be learned and discovered in the Congo Basin, and the ministers of environment and science in the region, together with science, have made a call for increased investment in science and technology and innovation in the Congo Basin. The panel is a response to this call. It's also inspired by the science panel of the Amazon, who's been very successful in advancing conservation and solutions for the sustainable development of that region. So we are very, very, very pleased that we can convene the panel at this time. The vision of the panel will be to synthesize existing knowledge on the ecosystems of the Congo Basin and the importance for the planet's cycle. It will be identifying as well gaps and opportunities for solutions. It will be based on the existing knowledge and also including existing knowledge of indigenous people and autochthonous knowledge. The aspiration is that they will issue their first report in time of COP30 in Belém in the Amazon. The long-term vision of the Sustainable Development Solutions Network is to support science panels of the Amazon, the Congo, Southeast Asia, and Indonesia, with a view to mobilize the scientific community in support of the solutions and sustainable development of these three basins, which are of unique significance for the world. We are very grateful, like I said, to our co-chairs, our scientific committee, and the scientists that will be joining the panel. We are grateful to many partners that are supporting this agenda, including many present here, the multilateral agencies, the agencies from the United Nations, international NGOs. We're grateful to our friend Wanjira from WRI, and especially also to Christian Samper from the Bezos Air Foundation. So we're very much looking forward to have you in this journey to really discover further about what the magnificent potential of the Congo Basin is for the sustainability of this region and of the planet. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Emma, and thanks for all you've done, really, to get us here. We're going to hear from our panelists, and I'll introduce them one at a time, and then they'll come. And then we will also hear from Christian Semper, friend and colleague at the Bezos Earth Fund, but I know he wants to hear from the panel first. So we're going to start with Lydie Stella Kutika. She's a brilliant soil scientist. You want to start with Raphael? I see the name here. And then you see these men? Okay. All right, Raphael Chimanga is going to kick us off. He is a professor of hydrology and water resources at the University of Kinshasa in DRC, and he's the director of the Congo Basin Water Resources Research Center. He's been working on questions pertaining to climate, water resources, and the impacts of the hydrological cycle, catchment classification, climate vulnerability, and many important issues like that. Professor Chimanga, over to you.
Yeah, thank you very much, the moderator. So, distinguished guests, the friend of the Congo Basin, brothers and sisters of the Congo Basin. So, I think this is a great day for us as a scientists, as people from the Congo Basin, because we are going to start a new era of this very important ecosystem, but also neglected. Sometimes I was in the US. I was called for a conference. I was talking for the Congo Basin, and then I received the question, where is the Congo Basin? So it's important for me to make people understand where is the Congo Basin, what is the Congo Basin about. It's important. The Congo Basin is located in Central Africa, and it has many riparian countries. And this ecosystem play very important role in sustaining 100 million of people lives in the basin. It provides ecosystem services. And today it's actually established that the forest of the Congo Basin provide rainfall to many parts of Africa, such as the Ethiopia, Eastern Africa, Northern Africa. The Congo Basin contains the second largest river basin in the world that sustain very rich endemic aquatic biodiversity of the Cuvette Centrale. And the Congo Basin also has this very huge complex of peatland that stock, gigaton, about 30 gigaton of carbon, thus playing a very important role in regulating the global climate. So this is actually the Congo Basin with its people and so on. But we wonder why this important ecosystem in the world is actually not studied. When you compare to other tropical forests in the world, so in terms of knowledge balance, we find out that the Congo Basin is really lagging behind in terms of knowledge, in terms of expertise, in terms of researchers. So we can say that really the Congo Basin is not very important only because it's large, but it's also because we have just started to understand this ecosystem. And as human pressure actually increases in this ecosystem, we are in danger of losing this ecosystem before even we know it. That is actually why the science actually is very important for the Congo Basin. We are coming up with the Congo Basin the science panel for the Congo Basin. So we say that there is an urgent need to drive a comprehensive, objective, open, transparent, systematic, and rigorous scientific research and dissemination of information on the state of the Congo Basin ecosystem, current trends, and the implication for long-term well-being of the region and the planet at large, as well as opportunities and policy-relevant options for conservation and sustainable development for the Congo Basin. So the mission of the science panel for the Congo Basin is very ambitious. So it's actually about conducting an authoritative and comprehensive multidisciplinary and interdisciplinary research synthesis of the existing scientific knowledge of the Congo Basin region, its ecosystem and challenges as a basis for policy making nationally and at the regional level, also at the international level, because of the role that the Congo Basin is playing at the international level. So what do we need to achieve this? We need to involve scientists from the region, but also scientists from the world. We need this collaboration between scientists from the region and also from the world. And we do have key scientific questions that we have to address through this synthesis. First, it will be about the knowledge of the Congo Basin, how it functions. So how do the Congo Basin ecosystem function as a regional entity and influence the changing Earth system? So the second question will be about how the region biodiversity and climate is impacted by the global, regional, and local human activities. So the third research question that will actually drive our synthesis report, which is expected by 2025, will be about how much this ecosystem and biodiversity and the climate of the Congo Basin change in the future. And lastly, we need to see how can scientific data inform climate resilient and sustainable land use with long-term goal of addressing poverty and sustainable development. And when we see our ministers in the region, you say, okay, there is this ecosystem, but there is also this poverty. People in the region need also bread. How can we come up with a model? How can our data help us come up with a trade-off between the conservation of the ecosystem, but also socio-economic development of people in the region? Thank you very much.
I don't know about you, but I'm starting to get really excited about the science panel. Professor Chimanga, that was brilliant. And I really like that you made the point about deepening knowledge and that we actually probably don't know everything we need to know. We all know that the Congo Basin is the healthiest ecosystem of the three, with the Congo teetering on the edge of becoming, the Amazon teetering on the edge of becoming an emitter, Southeast Asian forests already, but yet we could be in for even more. This is excellent. Thank you very much for that intervention. We're going to move now to my sister, I think. Oh, it's not yet you. You're coming, you're the grand finale. She is the grand finale, I understand. Okay. Professor Bonaventure Sonke is the head of Department of Biology at the Higher Teachers Training College. You're right, I really want to hear from you. And then also he's involved in a project collaboration with many institutions around the world. And I also want to point out what you said, Raphael, about collaborations globally. We have in the audience Simon Lewis, who's done a lot of work, and I know that the Congo Basin Science Initiative, which we also saw mentioned in the One Forest Summit, will also be part of the collaborative. So kudos, I see you. So over to you, Professor Bonaventure.
Merci. Nous voulons mettre aujourd'hui c'est un grand jour et Raphaël l'a dit, nous sommes arrivés au jour où nous proclamons la naissance de ce panel. Et le panel, il va se concentrer sur le bassin du Congo. Beaucoup de gens se posent la question, il se trouve où ce bassin du Congo? Donc il faut déjà, nous sommes réunis au mois de février à Libreville et on s'est rendu compte que beaucoup de gens ne savaient même pas quelles sont les limites de ce bassin du Congo. Donc la première chose, c'est de définir quel est l'espace géographique sur lequel ce bassin va travailler. Donc il va se concentrer sur tous les pays qui couvrent la région entre la rivière Congo et vous avez la RDC, vous avez le Congo-Brazzaville, vous avez le Cameroun, vous avez le Gabon, vous avez la Guinée équatoriale et éventuellement une partie de la République centrafricaine. Voilà quel est l'espace géographique sur lequel le panel va travailler. Et qu'est-ce que le panel va faire effectivement? Le panel va essayer de faire la synthèse, comme le professeur Chimanga l'a dit, de toutes les études qui ont été faites jusqu'à présent. On est toujours embêté quand un ministre nous demande, on me pose telle question, comment est-ce que je réponds à cette question? Généralement, beaucoup de gens ont fait des études. Nous ne disons pas que rien n'est fait, mais il n'y a pas une synthèse qui nous permette de répondre au ministre qui veut savoir, par exemple, quelle est l'étendue des mangroves dans le bassin du Congo. Voilà quelque chose qu'il faut absolument faire la synthèse. Et nous avons conscience, par exemple, que ce bassin, cette initiative qui arrive, n'arrive pas en terrain vierge. Il y a des activités, il y a des initiatives qui existent. Nous ne venons pas dit que rien n'est fait, beaucoup de choses ont été faites, mais il y a encore des choses à faire. Mais on ne sait pas dire au jour d'aujourd'hui, avec certitude, qu'est-ce qui est fait. Donc, le panel va se concentrer sur la question de qu'est-ce qui est fait. Et à partir de là, on va identifier les gaps en termes de recherche, en termes de renforcement de capacité, et à ce moment-là, on va adresser ces questions de recherche et de renforcement de capacité. Nous pensons qu'on ne peut pas tout faire à la fois. Donc, on a identifié quelques thèmes sur lesquels on va travailler. On va se concentrer d'abord sur les questions scientifiques qui portent sur la géologie, la géobiodiversité du bassin du Congo, l'évolution de la biodiversité dans le bassin du Congo. Il serait présomptueux de dire que nous avons les forêts vierges dans le bassin du Congo. Elles ne sont plus vierges. Elles sont à des différents stades et le panel va se concentrer à examiner ces forêts dans tous ces différents stades et voir quelle est l'action le rétroaction sur l'avenir de ces forêts. Et ce n'est pas pour faire des activités de recherche que le panel est là, c'est pour identifier les besoins de recherche et les besoins en renforcement de capacité. On a 3 co-chairs là qui vont être appuyés par ce que nous avons appelé le comité scientifique. Ce comité scientifique qui va être l'organe responsable de ces différentes synthèses. Et nous voulons que ces synthèses, comme Emma l'a annoncé, que ces synthèses soient prêtes pour, on va dire, pour la COP au Brésil. Donc, voilà ce que nous voulons faire. Voilà où est-ce que nous voulons aller. Et, dernière chose, nous arrivons avec d'autres initiatives, comme par exemple la COMIFAC qui fait régulièrement la revue sur l'état des forêts dans le bassin du Congo. Nous ne voulons pas dupliquer, nous ne serons pas en train de dupliquer ce que la COMIFAC fait déjà, mais nous voulons aller au-devant de ce que la COMIFAC a déjà fait et compléter dans une certaine mesure, soit qu'on doit être plus large que ce que la COMIFAC fait, sans être en duplication. Voilà un peu, nous voulons également fédérer toutes les initiatives qui sont présentes et pouvoir parler d'une seule voix. Je vous remercie.
Thank you so much, Prof. Just the quality, the depth, the evolution of the research and biodiversity, really exciting, the level of synthesis we can expect from this panel. I think what you're hearing from the co-chairs is just an indication of the passion, but also the seriousness and the depth we're going to see coming out of this exciting panel. We're going to hear from our last co-chair, but before I want you to be ready, we're going to take 3 or so questions from you at the end of all of this. So prepare your questions. I hope one of them, following from what you've mentioned, Prof, is to understand really how we can make sure that the findings of the panel don't stay locked up. How do we ensure that they are shared broadly? And part of what you said is we may not know everything, but so much of what you're going to do will be exciting, and sharing it broadly and making sure that the research findings don't stay in the scientific community and they go out will be something I'd like to hear you express. So for the moment you've been waiting for, all of you, Lydie, I want to welcome Lydie Stella Kutika. She's a brilliant soil scientist, the director for research and productivity sustainability in Pointe-Noire in the Republic of Congo, and she's also an expert on land degradation, looking at issues of food insecurity, adaptation, mitigation, everything. Welcome.
So thank you. Finally, I'm here. So what can I say? To begin, I will say that all have been said by my colleague, and even Emma or Yagira I will be focused on something that has been said already, but said in different way. Why is so important? Because as we understood, Emma said at the beginning, we are going to lead this panel in comparison of what can be done in Amazonia. Myself, I did my PhD and my DEA, which is master, on Brazilian ecosystem. So it's good to do that, but there are two different ecosystems, and the reality are not the same. That's why I'm going to present you three main points to let you understand why we are trying, how we are going to deal with the reality of the Congo Basin based on what has been done in Brazil. First of all, I will try to repeat a little bit what my colleague said. We are going to work on based on existing data yet. We know that at the same time, we'll identify gaps which will have to be filled by what our colleague initiative, Congo Basin Science Initiative. So, as she said, when we were at Libreville in March, we already identified the gaps. And the first one is the lack of social scientists. And that is what we are going to do at the very early stage of this panel, because it's important. We want to make something which will benefit for the local people, which will benefit for people living in, something which lasts. And for that, we need social scientists. And we need also to be aware of that. So the 3 point is going to be, first of all, as I said, importance of including social scientists at the very early stage of our panels. Also, we need to know that their experience have shown us when you have several projects and we come with our scientific knowledge to establish somewhere, rural population can take it when they have money, and then when you leave, they'll stop it. So the point Emma said already about that will deal with the traditional knowledge, because our rural population, people living in Congo Basin, they have knowledge. When I was working in Cameroon, in southern Cameroon, when I was making my postdoc, when you go to work with the rural people, they know much better than we do. And when you look at our story, because it was not documented in Africa, farmer did make, I made fallow. When they plant, they know that is not, the yield is not, is decreasing, they will change, they will go somewhere else. It was not documented, but they have knowledge. So the success of this panel, yet we are going to work on existing data, but as we identify already gaps, we know it won't be the same than Brazil, because we'll have a lot of gaps, which will be taken into account by the CBSI, and also we have to work based on the needs of the population. If you want something, if you want to somewhere after 20 years to be at the level maybe of South America, of Asia, we need to know that if people living in are going to somewhere, we say, taking it as their own, that's going to be the success. Yet we are conscious that the challenge is high, but we know that by working together, we are saying with my colleague that when it comes to the COP, every country has its own pavilion. That is pavilion of Rwanda, and here we have I don't know, other country. But in this panel, we'll try really to work together, because the success of this panel is our common heritage, legacy. So, then I will say you a few words about the structure. Actually, the structure of our panel, we have secretariat, which is composed of Emma, Cécile, Rachel, Harmonie, and Eliran. And then we have the three co-chairs, as you see, my colleague and myself. And we do have Science Steering Committee, which will establish definitely in the coming weeks. We have already a lot of people, not only people of the region, but also abroad. People who love Africa, as my colleague said, we are here, who loves Congo Basin, I mean, like my colleague also from my sister of Kenya, who is from Congo Basin as well. So this initiative was for the people who loves Congo Basin. So then about the structure, so that I say how we are going to work, what are going to be our really concern regarding knowledge. And how you can see myself, I'm a woman, and we know that in Africa, when it comes to science, that is one of our weakness. Also, that is one of the gaps we identified already, where we have to fill, and you need to be based on that. So then I will finish by the next step. Next step, as you can see, today is a launch, but we'll have the meeting very soon to make the milestone to be able to deliver our report at the COP in Belém. You know that the work is really challenging, as I said, but we are not only counting on our scientific science steering committee, we are counting also on you. We need you. We'll need a lot of, we have, challenges are a lot, they are financial, they are, so really, I want to thank again Emma and all the people who assist us, Cecile and Rachel and Yangira, but we really need to know that it's not going to be easy. But we believe, all of us, we believe that we will succeed. And that is what we have this kind of milestone to have, and we have your support, and also we'll need the support of rural population, people living in the Congo Basin, because they are the greater, they know much better than we do, scientists. And for that, we need your indulgence, your assistance, and your, I don't know how to say again. So that's, I will finish by that. I thank you.
Thank you so much, Lydie. Thank you also for reminding us of the structure and the fact that this panel, the work of this panel is linked to so much else. You reminded me of a wonderful story. I work as the Africa Director for the World Resources Institute, and our leader of forest restoration, wonderful Rwandese woman, Bernadette. And we were walking in Musanze, in the area near the Volcanoes National Park. And as we walked through that forest, she looked up and she said, you know, I did my PhD in that forest. And that she's back in Rwanda working on the restoration of that forest is absolutely special. And every time I think of the science panel, I think of what the Congo Basin Science Initiative will do, is that we will generate, we will create and foster a generation of scientists who are vested, who have so much skin in the game, that for them, this is not work, this is passion, this is home. And that's the sort of thing we want to see. And just hearing your passion, hearing just how committed you are, and like you said, we love the Congo Basin, and that's why this room has only standing room only. It is actually quite a special moment that we are here, your voices, your passion so palpable in a moment like this that is critical. It's important that we start like that, because yes, it will not be easy, but you are certainly not alone, because you can see not only is Christian and I here from the Bezos Earth Fund, so many others will crowd in because of this. I'm inspired by your words, and I hope that this is obviously just the beginning. Christian, I want to call on you, because obviously I know you can't wait to express your emotions as well, but I wanted to call you, and then we're going to hear as well from Florence. Christian.
Thank you very much to be here with you. Thank you. Great to see you again, Professor. And today's a very important day as we come together to launch this science panel for the Congo Basin. Needless to say, you all understand the huge significance of the Congo, the tremendous biological diversity, cultural diversity, the challenges, the opportunities ahead. And we all feel that having a very strong science basis that will underpin the policies and the economic development of the region is critical. Let me just say for a moment a personal reflection. I'm a scientist by training, but I grew up in Colombia. And one of the things I was involved with 30 years ago was setting up the National Biodiversity Institute of Colombia, which was specifically designed to bring scientific information to support the decisions of the government of Colombia. And what we find is that we have a lot of good academic institutions out there and doing different pieces of research. You have decision makers and people trying to make the best decisions, and we don't always connect those two dots. And I think figuring out, that's why the synthesis that can be done through this panel is so important, to bring together not only the scientific knowledge, but the indigenous peoples and local community knowledge, and bring them away in a way that can really help inform the challenges and those opportunities for the Congo Basin. And I think there are important lessons to be learned from other parts, including from the Amazon Basin and the science panel for the Congo. And it will be a journey, and I want to ask you a few questions later about how you're thinking about structuring this. But I'm very pleased to say that we were inspired by the work of the Amazon panel, the panel for the Amazon Basin. We saw the impact that that's had. I mean, bringing together the scientific community and giving us tangible information that could be used to inform key policies. Issues like we need to protect 80% of the Amazon Basin to avoid tipping points, and building the work of Carlos Nobre and many others. That is important information that needs to be brought to the right place at the right time. And the Congo Basin clearly needs this. There are also important gaps in our knowledge, and I'm very glad to see that there's initiatives to increase the scientific research and the work that's being done, biological, social, economics, all the areas here, and it's critical. So we're very pleased to announce that the Bezos Earth Fund will be providing financial support and technical support to the science panel today. 2 years ago, when at the COP26 in Glasgow, we were the only private donor to join the Congo Basin Forest Pledge, together with a few other donors. And we did it because we recognized the importance of the region. We felt it was an important issue, and we pledged that we would invest $100 million in the Congo Basin, which we have already done in only 2 years. And we're doing this to support civil society organizations. We're working with organizations like WCS and so many others that have worked in the region for decades to really try and the governments, of course, to try and strengthen the conservation of some of these forests, to work on the community issues, securing tenure rights in places like DRC for the community reserves and many others. And now we recognize that the key issue is how we build an economic development model that will use that forest as a key element for the development to support the livelihoods of more than 100 million people that live in this region. So during this meeting, and Daniel Schenzel's here from the FCLP and Bezos as well, one of the things that we did yesterday is we announced, or we joined the partnership for the DRC country package, which will be looking at both protecting some of the incredible ecosystems in a country like DRC, including the peatlands. And Simon is here, and I know you've done a lot of work on this, which is critical for their biological issues, for the values, for the carbon stored there, and for the livelihoods of the communities that live around them. But we also need to look at new tools and a new economic development model, including potentially the use of carbon credits, high integrity carbon credits. But this is going to require the best scientific information here. So one of the things that we also announced yesterday is that we as the Bezos Earth Fund will be working and supporting the design and the establishment of an institute for the new climate economy in the Congo Basin, in DRC, but working on a regional basis. And I very much hope that the work of the science panel will inform that process, but that then we will build some of the institutions that we need to take these findings forward to really be able to support this for years and decades to come. As was mentioned at the beginning, We're privileged that the Congo Basin is still a place that where we can get it right. We've seen what has happened in Asia with some of the forests and the challenges there. We see what's happening part of the Amazon. But in the Congo Basin, we can still figure out a path that's different, supporting the livelihoods of the communities and at the same time preserving this extraordinary biodiversity. So it's good for climate, it's good for nature, and it's good for people. So we're in with you in this project. We're ready to stand by you, and we look forward to helping you bring some of those results 2 years from now and then building on those going forward. Thank you very much.
Christian, thank you very much, and for that announcement. Of course, I want the panel to know that you have a great champion in Christian. He is absolutely committed, and we know that, Christian, this is not your first foray into the Congo Basin. Your work previously was in the region, so thank you very much. We're going to hear now from a special lady, Florence Pala. She's the project coordinator for RIOFAC and coordinating this work, supporting COMIFAC's observatory in the region. She's also going to be joining the scientific steering committee. So Florence, over to you.
Merci. Je vais commencer par remercier Emma, ici, qui a bien voulu dès le départ intégrer donc, le projet RIOFAC qui appuie l'Observatoire des forêts d'Afrique centrale, la COMIFAC, qui nous accueille. Et donc les co-chairs ont beaucoup parlé de données pour la décision. Et vous pouvez voir que le pavillon de la COMIFAC n'a pas d'image de protection de nuages, mais est décoré par des données. Et ces données sont justement le résultat des 2 publications que nous produisons, qui sont l'état des forêts et l'état des aires protégées. Donc nous accueillons cette initiative du Science Panel Congo Basin parce que ça va permettre justement de consolider cette initiative d'appui à l'Observatoire qui est appuyée depuis plus de 15 ans par l'Union européenne. Et je me réjouis déjà d'entendre qu'il y a un fonds qui va être mis à disposition de ce panel, puisque nous savons que nous avons un target de 2025 qui consiste justement à consolider les données qui existent. L'Observatoire des forêts d'Afrique centrale, dont l'existence et la mise en œuvre à travers les projets à plus de 15 ans maintenant d'existence, va pouvoir effectivement contribuer à cet assessment, puisque comme vous l'avez entendu, il y a plusieurs thématiques. L'Observatoire des forêts d'Afrique centrale s'est beaucoup concentré sur effectivement les forêts et les aires protégées. Et comme ça a été annoncé, il y avait toujours eu ce gap au niveau des données de société. Et je pense qu'avec cette initiative, nous allons pouvoir, pour l'aide à la décision, combler justement ce gap, puisque vous savez tous que c'est bien de conserver nos ressources, mais nous avons une population et nous avons des politiques qui ont besoin de se développer. Mais comment faire pour ne pas conserver seulement, développer en même temps? Il faut nécessairement des données pour aider à la décision. Et je parle aussi de ces données importantes parce que nous sommes aujourd'hui à la COP28. Des décisions vont être prises. On parle beaucoup maintenant d'énergie renouvelable. Et vous savez tous que tout ce qui est données climatiques au niveau du bassin du Congo est très vierge. Il y a eu déjà ici plusieurs side events où on a vu que même s'il y a un renforcement de capacité de chercheurs, il y a toujours ce gap au niveau des données. Donc c'est très important d'avoir ce panel qui se met en place et d'avoir ce target de 2025 qui va permettre de savoir quelles sont les données qui existent et où est-ce qu'il faut mettre un accent. Je vais poursuivre ici en disant qu'à travers le projet d'appui à l'Observatoire des forêts d'Afrique centrale, il s'agit ici d'une initiative qui complète ce qui a été fait. Donc au contraire, il s'agit ici d'aligner ce qui existe. En particulier, il existe aussi un collège scientifique au sein du partenariat des forêts pour les bassins du Congo, dont certains ici présents sont membres en différents collèges. Mais c'est le lieu ici de rappeler que ce soit le Science Panel Congo for Basin, que ce soit le CBSI qui est porté ici par Simon, il s'agira ici de travailler ensemble pour justement aller plus vite. 2025, c'est rapide. Et de faire une revue telle que le panel souhaite le faire, c'est très ambitieux, mais nous avons effectivement tous les moyens. On remercie
l'annonce qui a été faite pour justement aboutir, comme on l'a fait pour tout ce qui était état des forêts, état des aires protégées, d'avoir un document qui permet d'aider à la décision. Donc sur ce, je félicite encore les 3 co-chairs. Je suis membre du comité scientifique avec d'autres scientifiques, mais nous serons là pour justement appuyer cette initiative pour avoir les résultats que nous avons eus jusqu'à présent avec l'état des forêts et l'état des aires protégées. Je vous remercie.
You can see why this is going to be a tour de force. This is amazing. I want to open up to the audience. I know that some of you must have some questions for this panel. And maybe we'll take a couple and then have the panelists respond. So any questions, just raise your hand, stand up, ask. Yes, Christian.
Could you say a little bit more about something Wazira mentioned before? How do we make sure this
Am I- is-
No, I want to pick up on something Wanjira mentioned before. Say a little bit more about how we will design this panel so that it doesn't just finish in a fascinating report, but that it's really used by the right people. How are these people going to be engaged in the study? How are these people going to take some of the findings? 2025 will be important, but the journey getting there and making sure that the results are really taken up is absolutely key.
Yeah, thank you very much, Christian. It's a very important question. Actually, it's an operational, a question from operational perspective, because we are engaged in open science process. The report we are going to produce, the synthesis report, should be published and disseminated. And also there should be advocacy to ensure that the funding from this report is used to support policy decision. And this is actually the process. To do that, the report actually should be accessible for free to decision makers, to scientists, and also other stakeholders. I know. I think when we were at Three Basin Summit in Brazzaville with Simon Lewis, we went to see the Minister Bazaiba, Minister of Environment of DRC, and she told us, "So I need new information. I'm going to attend a meeting somewhere. I need new information." And this is actually the work that we are planning to do, and to provide this new information in form of synthesis, because we can write a report of 100 pages and so on, but we need to synthesize that in a way that so the information can be digested, communicated in an easy way, so that it can be used for policy decision. So this is actually the perspective. I don't know if
Yeah, just to be brief, Christian, one of the way also to make this panel existing for a long time, we are committed to involve more women and youth, passionate people, and that's one of the way. I'm quite sure that will work, and that is one of the things we will be working on. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So we have another question here. Let me.
Hello, my name is Julianne Thompson. I'm a public policy researcher working on my dissertation looking at cobalt extraction in the DRC. How can I get in touch with you? There isn't contact information on the paper, and I would love to be part of your panel.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I think that is we are working as a structured organization, and so we take a decision as we have a steering committee, and this is actually the demand that is going to be addressed in the steering committee. Emma, isn't it? The steering committee, so that we have your to obtain your contacts. And yeah, please.
And there is an email. I don't know if
Yeah.
you can see it.
We have an email address that you can send any questions and information. I think maybe if you can move it there.
SPCB, Science Panel for the Congo Basin.
SCB.
At
Okay. .org. Yeah. And we have I think it's in the agenda as well. Yes.
Yes, Vanessa.
Thanks everyone for this. This is super exciting. It's a brilliant initiative. Kudos to everyone, and of course to the scientists. This is a question more for Emma, which I'm super happy that you're engaged on this. This is actually more brilliant to have also your experience in the Amazon. So my question is, what are the big lessons learned from the science panel of the Amazon, and also for the future of this panel, the biggest ones, of course there might be many, and how do we keep the connections tight? Yeah, to you, Emma. Gracias.
Thank you for the question. I think there are many lessons, and there's still more lessons and more knowledge exchange from both sides, from the Amazon to here, from the Congo to the Amazon. We had from the very beginning the participation of scientists from the Amazon in the origin at the Libreville meeting, and I think we'll continue to do so in terms of knowledge exchange. I think one of the critical lessons I will say is precisely to highlight those key issues, like the tipping point, like what is important, really critical for policymakers. And we are very pleased that we have reached to the President Summit with a number of the messages that the scientific panel of the Amazon has done. And I think from the very beginning we will try to do so, to be engaged very closely with policymaking, as well as with the scientific community, because there is a tremendous investment, even in the Amazon, that needs to be done for really advancing a transformative model that is different, requires a lot of innovation, a lot of science and technology. And again, we're pleased that the Presidential Summit has taken on board some of these recommendations.
Thank you very much. We'll take the last two questions together. Emma, if you could just pass that mic, we could continue.
Thank you very much. I would like to echo the congratulations for this initiative, which is really great and on point. And my question has to do with the integration between the different initiatives and OFAC and COMIFAC, and also the role of the countries, the national authorities in this initiative, which I think is quite important. Florence mentioned a few about the relationship between the panel and OFAC, which is awesome, but I think we need to sit at a broader perspective that includes CBFP, but also the countries themselves.
National authorities and the role of those. Let's take the other one.
Merci beaucoup. Je suis Arsène Guenlé au niveau de la société civile du bassin du Congo. Alors, moi, je félicite les panélistes. J'ai une préoccupation, vous allez m'aider. Pendant les préparatifs du sommet des 3 bassins, on a été au niveau de l'UNESCO, on a parlé les connaissances scientifiques et les connaissances endogènes. Alors, s'il y a la recherche scientifique, parce que la recherche nous donne les données, donc les données ont une puissance afin de nous permettre de mettre au point les activités. Si on n'a pas de données fiables, ça pose problème. Mais qu'en est-il, comment vous pouvez travailler avec le volet endogène? La recherche scientifique, mais du côté endogène, il y a aussi des connaissances, il y a le savoir. Quel est le pont? Et pour terminer, alors j'ai eu une inquiétude qui n'a pas peut-être été prise en compte pendant le sommet des 3 bassins. Lorsqu'on utilise les communautés locales, les populations autochtones, où sont les chefs traditionnels? Parce qu'on ne peut pas rentrer dans la maison ou la parcelle de quelqu'un, on parle avec les enfants et on laisse le parent. Il y a une transmission, c'est ce qui se passe. Le volet traditionnel, les chefs traditionnels, les prendre en compte comme partie prenante. J'ai entendu Mme Lydie qui venait de parler des jeunes, oui, les femmes, ainsi de suite, les personnes vulnérables. Mais n'oublions pas ce côté-là parce que nous sommes dans un bassin où nous avons toutes ces parties prenantes qui ont aussi de l'influence. Comment vous pouvez travailler avec eux? C'est ce que je voulais comprendre. Merci beaucoup.
Merci beaucoup. Je pense que nous devons garder à l'esprit deux choses. Quand nous travaillons déjà dans la structuration du panel, du panel et le comité scientifique, nous devons intégrer les sciences sociales. Et ce sont les sciences sociales qui vont nous permettre tout naturellement d'intégrer les connaissances endogènes. Donc, ne pensez pas qu'on a oublié ça. Non, on n'a pas oublié. Deuxième chose, nous travaillons, ou alors nous savons que les sciences sociales travaillent avec ce qu'on appelle les focus groups. Et les focus groups dans les villages sont mis en place par les chefs traditionnels. Donc, ils sont, ces focus groups-là, sous l'autorité des chefs traditionnels, dont nous ne pouvons pas, que ce soit nous, les sciences dures ou bien les sciences sociales, on ne peut pas contourner les chefs traditionnels. Et même tout bêtement, quand nous arrivons dans une localité pour faire des inventaires ou quoi que ce soit, ce sont les chefs traditionnels qui nous indiquent avec qui nous devons travailler. Donc, il n'y a pas moyen de les contourner. Donc, pour ce plan-là, vous pouvez vous assurer, ce sera pris en compte. Qu'est-ce qu'on fait des initiatives et comment est-ce qu'on travaille avec les initiatives qui existent déjà? Comme je l'ai dit et comme Florence l'a dit, il s'agit de fédérer tout ce qui existe déjà. Nous n'arrivons pas, et ça je l'ai dit tantôt, nous n'arrivons pas en disant rien n'a été fait, nous allons tout recommencer. Mais non, il y a des choses qui existent, nous voulons juste fédérer toutes les initiatives qui arrivent pour qu'on ait un rapport, pour qu'on ait un rapport global qui prenne en compte tout ce qui existe pour le bien-être de tout le monde. Tu veux ajouter quelque chose?
Non, je pense que c'est que, merci beaucoup, c'est que nous avons une approche multidisciplinaire, donc basée sur la multidisciplinarité et la transdisciplinarité. Et lorsque nous avons cette approche, nous voyons directement que les recours aux connaissances endogènes, c'est vraiment un acquis. Et que même les méthodes qu'il faut devoir utiliser pour pouvoir collecter, évaluer ces connaissances endogènes, ce sont des méthodes qui nécessitent des approches participatives. Alors, je crois qu'en associant cette méthode, on peut bien arriver à pouvoir surmonter les difficultés de pouvoir mettre de côté ce qui est essentiel, ce qui vient de la source que nous appelons connaissance endogène. Merci.
Thank you. Thank you very much. We are going to close there. I can see some very anxious people. I know there's a panel coming, but I just want to take a moment to congratulate SDSN, congratulate our co-chairs as they embark on a really exciting journey. This is wonderful because we will be going on a voyage of exploration. It's going to be pushing the boundaries of what we understand, pushing the boundaries of what inspires us, and going to even greater heights. We want to embrace this moment with great enthusiasm and optimism, because that's really what the moment deserves. And it's moments like this that really remind us that we are on the cusp of exciting leadership, scientific and otherwise, in Africa. And I know that the road ahead will be long, but we are embarking it not because it will be easy, but because we know it will be meaningful. So I leave you with that, and thank you all so much for joining us today. I want us to acknowledge and appreciate our co-chairs for a wonderful session.